Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Did you miss me? I sure did miss you. Oh my gosh, it feels like it's been forever. welcome to everyone, including those via FB and, of course, YouTube Live on the Love 101 Facebook page and our YouTube channel, of course. Now, as you know, family time is about your issues and your relationships, your at home family, your community family, and your global family. You're tuned into Family Time and you are on Love 101. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. So stay tuned with us and please join via all our platforms. Now, this evening's topic is back to normal, unrestricted under COVID. Can you imagine that? Some people that say COVID done, but really and truly, is it done or is it just the restrictions? What are we going to be doing? Are we going to pretend like the last 2 years didn't happen? This is what we're going to be talking about today. And we know that we have been adhering to these restrictions for 2 years because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And those restrictions have now been lifted, and we have a lot of questions. So, what I want to know from you is, what are you anticipating or fearing the most now that there are no restrictions under COVID? So, let me repeat. What are you anticipating or fearing the most now that there are no restrictions under COVID? Now, we want you to WhatsApp, text, and voice note your responses, and make sure that your voice notes are no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. Now, remember, the question is, what are you anticipating or fearing the most now that there are no restrictions under COVID? And throughout the program, we'll obviously be sharing it. And maybe our special guest will give you some personal pointers too. Now, remember, you can watch us live on Love 101 Facebook and YouTube. We'll be right back. Oh, and just to let you know, our special guest this evening is, no, you didn't guess it, Dr. Leah Kim Samaj. Don't go anywhere.
Digicel. Connect with Brata. Theater Kian. Enjoy all your favorite apps and more on Jamaica's fastest network. Activate the Prime Brata bundle for as low as $175 by dialing *147 number sign from your Digicel phone or in the My Digicel app. Connect.
All right, connect with Brata. Digicel Prime Brata. Theater Kian. Done.
Exporters, importers, traders, all stakeholders. The Jamaica Customs Agency presents its first Trade Facilitation Symposium under the theme Balancing Trade Facilitation and Compliance. Wednesday, March 23, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Live on the Jamaica Customs Agency's YouTube channel. That's the Jamaica Customs Agency's virtual symposium on trade, March 23, 2022 at 10 a.m. This is a symposium you can't afford to miss. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Why should you save? You ever hear your grandmother say, one cocoa full basket? Well, it's true. Saving protects you. You should save for an emergency fund, which can come in handy in the event of illness, job loss, or unexpected financial shocks. Saving can help you manage your expenses and reduce financial stress. Saving provides you with financial freedom.
This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101. And welcome, of course, to our special guest, Dr. Leah Kim Samaj. How are you? He is a psychologist and the chief ideator president of Above or Beyond. How are you?
I'm alive and well.
Woot woot.
Well, let me add fully vaccinated and boosted and safe.
Yes, God bless you. And well, I'm sure that most of us, well, based on the stats, no, not most of us, but some of us have your status.
Yeah, most do not.
Most do not. But what can we say? We're here, we're here, we're here. Now, remember, before we jump right in, we want to hear from you, our audience. We need you to tell us, what are you anticipating or fearing the most now that there are no restrictions under COVID? WhatsApp your text and voice notes, and make sure the voice notes are no longer than 30 seconds, please, and thank you, to the number 876-997-3125, and watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube. Or you can call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. And throughout the program, we'll definitely share your views and comments. And we actually have someone already. Delroy, fast out the blocks from Facebook, is saying Jamaica nice again. No restrictions on COVID-19. And I'm not so sure everybody's feeling the way what Delroy is feeling, you know. But, oh gosh, Dr. Samaj, tell us, what exactly did the restrictions do to us?
Well, the main thing it did, it took away one of our most important needs as human beings, this thing called freedom.
Yeah.
But freedom, just imagine when you're in prison, you have to get permission to go everywhere to do anything. And with lockdowns and curfews and restrictions, your life was largely circumscribed by what the rules say. Where can you go? When can you go? How many people can be there? So a lot of the so-called freedoms that persons cherish were taken away. Now, there's a reason for that. Huh? And we were also the issues about mask, sanitization, social distancing, vaccination. Now, in all of these, people responded in a very subjective way. But the result was there were psychological impacts, there were social impact, there were economic impact. So one can imagine that some of these will now be reversed to some extent because look, psychologically, we want to do what we want to do. Huh? Even children start off wanting to disobey, the terrible
Yes.
twos. Parents provide control as to what and then when you go to school, teachers do that. But then you realize how life sets up. Those who can control themselves get more freedom. So that if you go out on the road and you're not in control, the police,
Yes.
then the courts, so that there are all of these in place. Huh? But at least people feel free. There's a song that came out about 20 years ago by Brian and Tony Gold. When you finish, you can listen to it. It's called Can You? And the line is, can you swim on any beach you want to? It was about life in South Africa, whereby people's lives were restricted. And I posted that some months ago because I had to call a friend. By the way, beach open, river open, because we had to ask because we didn't know were all beaches closed, were all rivers closed, so that you can't go beach, you can't go river. So that is the big. Now, also socially, we're social animals. We like to socialize. We like to congregate. We like to interact. And we're very specific about who we do so. So a lot of problems were created during the lockdown. A lot of people were locked down with people who didn't want to lock down with.
Can I tell you? Oh my gosh.
And that's why we had even more domestic violence. Because look, some people just don't want to go home because they don't want to go home to the argument again. So you stay out as late as possible, but nobody lockdown time is 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. You got to go home. And you know what they say? Pressure bust pipe.
Gosh.
Anyway, it maga, it pop. So that a lot of situations where somebody will just go to the door and slam the door and just walk out. I'm gone, I won't come back. You couldn't do that. Because if you go there and police hold you, it's another thing. Then the economic side of it also. A lot of Jamaicans earn their money from hustling. Hustling go out a road. Hustling is where any party keeping, where anything is happening, where you can turn a money. So that's the biggest contrast that we're seeing now in terms of the freedom just to be, just to do, just to be an adult. Now, there are other sides of this which we can discuss later on, because with freedom comes responsibility.
Responsibility.
So,
Go ahead.
no, so that is the issue. I've said from the very beginning, if we were responsible people, we wouldn't have to have all the lockdown. Because just think about this. Anybody who has COVID got it from somebody else.
True.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
If we were wearing masks the way we should, if we were sanitizing and social distance, COVID couldn't last more than 2 weeks because it would have nowhere to go. It would have ended. But because we did not mask, social distance, and sanitize, no, with the freedoms now. I heard your first comment, the caller that said no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica open up again.
But guess
Jamaica
what?
nice again.
Lockdown done, but COVID don't done.
And that is it. But we're moving far ahead now. Dr. Samaj, I want us to take our time. Take our time. Now, I want you to tell me, what restrictions cause the most challenge to the most persons. So you had highlighted, economically, socially, psychologically, emotionally. Which aspect really weighted on the people of Jamaica the most, in your opinion?
I would say just in two categories. Because the first, freedom, loss of freedom. Because even though you don't want to go nowhere, but the fact that you can't go nowhere.
Maddening. It's maddening.
Yeah. I mean, I've had the experience. I mean, you're at a meeting, you're doing something, and when we had lockdown at 6 o'clock and so on, all of 7 o'clock,
Yes.
you're looking at your watch and to see now what time do I have to leave now. No, I live in Stony Hill, so I had to leave from downtown Harbour Street. Now you realize what the traffic was like.
Yes.
Everybody trying to reach
It was
home now
ridiculous.
before lockdown, and then you want to stop a supermarket. So who never had COVID before? Now we have it now.
Yes.
You have to stop. And to me, the worst one was when they cut Jamaica to a 3-day work week. You remember those couple of weeks?
God.
With the lockdown was from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And we don't reopen again until the Tuesday the following week. Those were the most painful. The most painful.
Was hard.
I understand there are some people with money, who just spend those 4 days at an all-inclusive.
Well, Dr. Samaj, this is where we break, because guess what? That's something you're saying. So remember, viewers, listeners, I asked you a question. What are you anticipating or fearing the most now that there are no restrictions under COVID? That's our social media request of you this evening, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. WhatsApp, text, and voice notes, obviously no longer than 30 seconds, to 876-997-3125. Watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. Also, I'm encouraging you to friend us on Facebook at FLM Jamaica, FLM Family Life Ministries, and follow us on Instagram at FLMJA, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries, FLMJA. The numbers for the FLM head office are 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. You're tuned to Love 101, and we'll be back sooner than you think.
Rio Grande to the South Coast. Hotel workers and man wear off boat. This a for the craft vendors, red cap porters and transportation at airport. Jamaica tourism pension plan, building towards the future for tourism workers across the island. Retirement benefits to contributions. Every worker in the industry, permanent self-employed contract. For your service, you deserve security. Yes, you do. Tourism workers pension plan, build a bright future. Yes, you can. Tourism workers pension plan, workers invest through contributions. All tourism workers, age 80 to 59. Tourism workers pension plan.
Start making your contributions for a brighter future.
For further information, visit mot.gov.jm or call 876-920-4926 for 30.
I did a crazy attack. You see me means a real G, real go-getter. My life move non-stop. So me have to stay linked and floor yard and road. And my connect and one plan link me up at home with Wi-Fi and on my mobile with data and calls to any network. At my yard, non-stop streaming my vibes are starting from a PNF and out the road and non-stop vibes. Same way. Flow connect me non-stop for as little as $3,999 a month plus GCT. Visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
Ooh la la! I see what I want at the Phosphorus Super Sale, March 21 to 31, Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. Come get your wires, breakers, chandeliers, wall lamps, LED bulbs, and so much more. Shop in Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. You can't afford to miss it. Come shop, come save at Phosphorus Super Sale, March 21 to 31. See you there at Phosphorus.
The following is a message from the Ministry of Tourism.
Without a doubt, tourism is Jamaica's #1 industry, and our dedicated workers are its greatest asset. Jamaica would not be the heartbeat of the world without you. As the industry rebounds from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we truly need all hands on deck, yours included. Vaccination holds the hope for tourism's full recovery. In addition to COVID-19 protocols, it is the only comprehensive way to fight the pandemic and save lives. I am therefore urging every worker in the tourism and hospitality industry, in all the subsectors, including accommodation, attraction, entertainment, transportation and craft, to do your part and get vaccinated. Do it for yourself, your family, your workplace, and your community. Do it for Jamaica, land we love. Stay safe. Get vaccinated.
The preceding message was brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism.
Welcome back, everyone. And as you know, if you've just joined us, actually, we have our special guest, Dr. Leah Kim Samaj, who is a psychologist and the chief ideator and president of Above or Beyond. And we are asking you to answer this question. What are you anticipating or fearing the most now that there are no restrictions under COVID? Now, we already have some comments so far. We have Sister Mahoney that says, good afternoon on that topic about COVID. I will continue to wear my mask and the Puerto I had my vaccine. I'm not so sure what that was supposed to be. I will continue to wear my mask. She had her vaccine and COVID not finished. We have Joan Dawkins from Connecticut, USA. She says, family time freedom is good, but still take your own precautions. It is still a must. COVID is on the down low, but Omicron is still here along with COVID. Enjoy responsibly. And then we have Jody and Simpson from Salisbury Plain, St. Andrew, who says, good evening, family time, and your guests. The crowds and spreading of the viruses when someone sneezes and coughs on you. So I'm thinking that she's saying that the virus is still being spread because there are going to be crowds and they're going to be spreading when they sneeze and cough, etc. And we have a voice note. You can go ahead and play the voice note for me.
I was always of the belief that Jamaicans did not take COVID-19 seriously. And now, with no restrictions, I think it's going to be worse. So I fear a spike in cases and the Prime Minister refusing to lock down the country again. Yeah, I really do fear that.
And I will say, Dr. Samaj, that's a real fear because I think when the Prime Minister said we are, throwing out the restrictions, I think people interpret it as COVID done. So no
Exactly.
need for masks, no need for sanitation, no need for anything. We're just doing life as how it was in early 2019, 2018, and further back. I think
Mhm.
that's the interpretation that most of us, well, probably not most of us, but probably a lot of Jamaicans have.
Well, you see, the problem with that, is that there's a phrase I use: we're all in the same storm, but not the same boat. Some people have some big cruise ship. We have one
Right.
little raft. You see, again, one thing I pointed out: if your rate of reopening the society is faster than your rate of vaccination, you stand the chance of losing all your gains. Now, there are countries who have 80% and more of persons vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
We are at 23%. Now, we did a whole nother program to discuss how did we come to this. For
Yes.
the last 100 years, Jamaicans been, every one of us, before we go to school, we had to have a whole raft of vaccination for measles and mumps and rubella. And
Rubella.
all of us if you're going to school in Trinidad, you have to have smallpox vaccine. If you're going to Africa to work, you have to have about 10 different vaccine. If you apply for a green card to get a green card to go to the US, there's a raft of vaccines that you must take. All right. But social media and circumstances has created a serious issue of vaccine hesitancy and
Indeed.
conspiracy theories. Now, we are on our own because we have reopened and the issue is still real. Persons, and we mentioned Omicron is still there, and
Yes.
other variations are behind.
Are coming in.
We don't know much about them yet. And the more unvaccinated your population is the greater the chance of spread of new variants. All right.
So how are we then supposed to be managing and coping? Because you have persons who during COVID they were booming, unlike some other persons who during COVID all hell broke loose, job loss, everything. How are these people going to basically be coping with these normal measures now? Now that the
Well,
measures are,
see,
the
again,
COVID-19 restrictions
one
are
of the
out.
things that we should probably change the phrase a little. It's not, we're not, you can't go back to normal. We're now going forward to a new normal. It's a new normal because COVID still a keep. The whole issue of there's certain look, the more knowledgeable you are about the issues, the scientific processes behind it. If you're in an enclosed space, there's a greater need for you to have your mask and sanitize and all of that. Huh? If you're open door and people are dispersed, it is easier for you to even again avoid it. But people are not going to be making those kind of distinctions.
No, because we tend to be a people that love to touch. We're very,
Exactly.
you know.
It's an incredible. I was at Heart Stony Hill when they reopened some months ago and so on, and the new students and coming in, and you should see all the students with masks and so on. But pretty soon, everybody was in bungalow hugging up them friend and hugging up and taking selfie. I said, ladies, COVID not done now. It's as if your behavior, once you get into a social gathering, once you're with friends,
You're
that's what
not
I
thinking about
no, because
safety.
this
No, you're
thing,
not
this
thinking
thing we
about.
call social distance is a real construct. Yeah, there's a distance that we conduct ourselves socially with persons that we don't know. Huh?
Mhm.
That's 6 feet and beyond. But if you're talking with people that you're friendly with and know them, you
You
talk
want to
at a
be close.
it's a personal distance. Worse yet, if it's somebody you really like. Huh? So then we're gonna it's very important that programs like these be broadcast, but also that promotions continue for people to understand that with freedom comes
Res-
responsibility.
Great responsibility at that.
It is on
Um,
you now to do what you need to do.
Indeed, indeed. But in terms of for the, because we you would have said earlier on that during COVID we had a lot of persons who were abused. We saw the rise in persons being depressed. Do you believe that now that the restrictions are gone, that these will change, or people will just stop reporting them?
No, there'll be some change. Now, guess why? Emotions are
Mhm.
more contagious than any virus. So when people around you are depressed, all of a sudden everybody depressed.
Um,
But when just think about it, when
Broke
people
vibes.
around are happy,
Somebody come with a negative vibe and then just broke your vibe.
yeah, and just kill the vibes in the place.
Yeah.
Now, if everybody, I remember this Saturday afternoon, Aluna Samba posted on Twitter, boy, it's nice to just hear all the music. She lives in St. Anne, over the
Yes.
hills. It's a nice reggae music. But then she said another part of her said, my God, another sleepless night. Because yes, as you go into the night now, the music not going to stop
It's
or
not
come
gonna
down.
stop. It's gonna continue to three
It's going to
o'clock.
continue right through the night. So we had forgotten about that. It's so nice to
Yes.
have quiet nights and you could sleep in your bed. But the amount of sound systems you're hearing at night. So that's the other side. But we're going to have, initially, there'll be some euphoria,
Yes.
positive vibes, and positive emotions are more contagious. Even negative emotions are, any emotions are more contagious than any. So that with people around you feeling good and excited and feeling, then more people will feel good about themselves and about each other and so on. So we're going to expect an uptick in good feelings and then a downtick in the depression and the frustration, because some of it you can't go nowhere. Not that you have the money to go nowhere, not that you really want to go nowhere, but you can't go nowhere. But now you're free. So that we will see some changes in some of these issues.
Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and read some more comments where we are just firing today. We have Angela from Iraton. She says, "Good afternoon. What are my fears for the opening of the country? Is the night noise, the same thing that you're talking about, Dr. Samaj. Saturday night was a lot of music all around. She sounded like she never sleeps Saturday night at all." Jacqueline from Clarendon says, "A blessed good evening to you and your guest, including everyone at Love. I am glad the country is opening, but not excited because COVID is still here. I'm still taking all the necessary precautions." And I believe we have another voice note.
Good afternoon. I agree with you where you said that you believe that some people don't believe you have to sanitize or wear a mask. I went into a business place today and it's a big business place. There were many persons in there. When I got to the doorway and was asking for my hand to be sanitized, the person said, "Oh no, you do that on your own. We don't do that anymore." So even the business places are giving up where that is concerned.
And I think we have another one. You can go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening. All we have to do is wear a mask, sanitize, wash our hands, and avoid. We don't have to be going to the parties and certain places we don't have to go. We just don't go. Everybody just have to take responsibility and just act responsible. That's it. Because the country can't lock down again. You understand? We're living with ease and other things, so we're going to have to live with what's going on. It is what it is.
Hard pills to swallow. And with that, we are going to be going on our second break. You have been listening to Love with Family Time on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and Facebook. It's produced by Family Life Ministries. For our social media interaction, we want you, yes, you, to tell us what are you anticipating or fearing the most now that there are no restrictions under COVID. Let us know via WhatsApp, text, and voice notes no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125 on the Love 101 Facebook page, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 to participate. We're also on FB and YouTube Live. We want to hear from you, and we have been hearing from you. Thank you. Don't go away. We're going to continue talking about going back to normal, unrestricted under COVID with Dr. Leah Kim Samaj right after this break.
The following is a message from the Ministry of Tourism.
Without a doubt, tourism is Jamaica's number one industry, and our dedicated workers are its greatest asset. Jamaica would not be the heartbeat of the world without you. As the industry bounds from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we truly need all hands on deck, yours included. Vaccination holds the hope for tourism's full recovery. In addition to COVID-19 protocols, it is the only comprehensive way to fight the pandemic and save lives. I am therefore urging every worker in the tourism and hospitality industry, in all the subsectors, including accommodation, attraction, entertainment, transportation, and craft, to do your part and get vaccinated. Do it for yourself, your family, your workplace, and your community. Do it for Jamaica, land we love. Stay safe. Get vaccinated.
The preceding message was brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism.
Stakeholders, items exported temporarily for repairs or for commercial use must first be registered with the Jamaica Customs Agency using an electronic customs declaration EX2 completed by a customs approved agent. Re-imported items which are upgraded, altered, or replaced may attract a customs duty. For customs related matters, you may email public.relations@jca.gov.jm or telephone 876-922-51408. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Rio Grande to the South Coast, hotel workers and man wear off boat. This a for the craft vendors, red cap porters and transportation at airport. Jamaica tourism pension plan, building towards the future. For tourism workers across the island, retirement benefits to contributions. Every worker in the industry, permanent self-employed contract. For your service you deserve security. Yes you do. Tourism workers pension plan, build a bright future. Yes you can. Tourism workers pension plan, workers invest through contribution. All tourism workers age 80 to 59. Tourism workers pension plan.
Start making your contributions for a brighter future.
For further information, visit mot.gov.jm or call 876-920-4926 for 30.
Grace Mackerel, you're my number one. Like, love you, yeah. Time by Grace Mackerel is
6:03 p.m. And so welcome back. You are listening to Family Time on Love 101. Our special guest today is Dr. Leah Kim Samaj, and we are talking about, listen, are we really going to go back to normal? Dr. Samaj says, listen, we're not going to go back. It's not going to happen. It's a matter of moving forward. So we would have heard on the news reports that, fights in schools are just on the rave. How are our children going to be reacting now? Because they've already won in terms of education. They've already lost a lot of grounds for their lessons. Social interactions with their classmates and their peers have gone down. So having them come back in the space now, what are we expecting? What should a parent expect now that these restrictions are gone out the door of their child?
Well, again, there'll be some euphoria, because the people are um, freer, so to speak. But what I anticipate in the schools, some children, based on what their parents are telling them, will be doing their best to maintain the protocols, while other children will not. That will be a source of conflict because this child wants to stay away from the crowd,
Yes.
away from the group, and so on. And others really want to. So you go out like better than we. Huh?
Peer pressure.
So I do expect both directions that some children will bow to the peer pressure, whereas others will insist that, listen, I am not taking off my mask. I am not coming closer to you. I am not. Did you sanitize your hand before you touch the thing? Did you sanitize your hand after you touched it? So that would be some source of conflict because individuals would be treating it quite differently.
Indeed. Oh my. And to the persons, because I mean, for me, going back to normal will be weird. Why would it be weird? Because before COVID, I was single. Now I'm married and I have a child. And so I've never been married in the normal way of life.
Yes.
And so for me, going back to face-to-face work, because I've been working online for all this time, so going back to face-to-face work means leaving my baby somewhere. So I have to know sort out childcare and all of that stuff. So and that was the norm for mothers before, but it wasn't the norm for me.
That is a serious thing globally. Because we've been seeing that in other countries. A lot of women preferred working from home.
Yes.
Or they would like a hybrid situation where they have some days at home and some days in the office. Now, you made a very good observation in terms of your reality adjusted to the working from home. And now you have to make totally different arrangements. I feel the same way. The bulk of my work is online. But over the last couple of weeks, I've had some face-to-face, and then the couple of days, especially those first 2 days when school opened, I forgot that it takes 2 hours to get from Stony Hill to downtown.
Oh, God.
I cannot go back to spending, 4 hours of my day
4
traveling
hours in traffic.
so that
God.
I'm not prepared to do that. So that is the part of the new normal that many people will not adjust to. I, for one, won't, because having to leave my house 6:30 to reach somewhere by 8:30, 9 o'clock and all of that, leaving work 5 o'clock and not getting home till 7, 8 o'clock and so on. That is the part of the new normal now that a lot of people say, no, I'd rather go back to, I will come in 2 days a week. I will work part-time. So we're going to have to see some serious adjustments to that. And the other piece, though, the very reason why most workplaces had to close, had to people work from home, because most workplaces do not facilitate or cannot facilitate social distancing.
True.
The building that my office was in, I was on the 9th floor.
Yes.
No, once they went to COVID restrictions, the elevators were only allowed 2 people at a time on the elevator. You realize how long it would take you to get from downstairs.
Forever.
And in lunchtime. So I immediately closed my office because there'd be no way you'd be spending half of your time waiting for the elevator.
Wouldn't be practical.
No. I'm sure in terms of what that voice note just said, many places will just abandon the protocols. So once you abandon the protocols, COVID still a keep. It means now that the probability of reinfection is now greater.
Wow. There's so many sides to this story. We're going to take the 2 voice notes.
Hi, family time reps. Good afternoon. I want to tell you, read opening of a country. That's fine for me. That's fine for me because I take precaution. I monitor myself. But, my concern is that I want to say that, school open up and everything and the children are back. And I want to tell you that my child, he never had a cold or a cough, and as he goes to school, he has the cold and a cough, and what they're telling you, they have to come home and stay home until they get better before they can come back out to school. I mean, if he was at home, he has been at home and never have the flu, and as he goes to school, he caught the flu. It's technical. It's very technical.
I love to comment on
Good
that.
You can go ahead and then we'll play the
Now,
other one.
afternoon
a lot
to
of
the host.
children did not get colds and flus over the last year because of interacting with other kids and so on,
Yes.
right? So in a sense, their immune system would not have been strengthened, because that's how, when your children go to basic school and preschool, and for the first time, them have cold every day because
And then
somebody
they
will
build
come to
up
school
their
with cold. But now
resistance.
we're talking about more than cold. So parents, that should have been something that the media should have reminded parents about, especially new parents, that the first couple of weeks when children go to school, because they're going to infect each other. Huh?
They
It may
can't
it
help.
sound away. Huh? I saw an article recently that said over the last year, the amount of flus around the world and cold was significantly reduced.
Yes. Yes.
Even the number of deaths due to influenza and it was reduced because the masking. So parents have to be aware that your children going back to school, they have a decreased immune system because it was not the interaction with other kids, sharing all the bugs and so on. That will happen.
Okay. All right. So you can go ahead and play the other voice now.
Good afternoon to the host and Dr. Lakim Samaj. I'm Beverly. Yes, my words fear that people don't practice social distancing. They are up in your face like blackhead, and if you ask for social distances, they curse or give you attitude. That's my worst fear right now, and yeah, anticipating that the economy will get better, the price increase of things will go down. Yeah, that's my take.
Oh, sister, you make a sad mistake. It not going down, it going up. But yes, we're going on to Jackie Coke from Montego Bay, and she's saying, "Good evening. Some business places are no longer taking temperatures, but they're still sanitizing. I see people go inside some places without masks as well. But I'm using wisdom because the last time I checked, COVID is still keeping." Cherry from Spanish Town says, "The country open, but COVID a keep. Plus a lot of noise from sound system. Wearing a mask, sanitize and washing of hands and social distance is needed. Practice clean and safe hygiene." So we have a lot of our listeners, a lot of our watchers are saying, listen, COVID still keeping, and people, we will tell you, yes, not because the restrictions are gone, COVID is still here. So, as the government recommends, still wear your mask, still sanitize. It's okay. You can do it. It might be a little bit weird, and it should be weird because we've been doing it for so long. But persons have been longing for this back to normal. So everybody, most persons kind of just go wide, go north. They're just going crazy all over because, as Dr. Samash says, it's what? They're just so happy that the restrictions are all gone. But listen, we need to be responsible. With freedom comes responsibility. Now, Dr. Samaj, let us know what lessons can be learned from all the restrictions that we've had, all the lockdowns, for the peak of the different positivity rates that we've gone through as a country, the highs, the lows. What have we learned, and how can we take it with us into the future?
The most important lesson, that COVID, if we had responded behaviorally in a responsible manner, we would have contained it long, long time ago. What I'm talking about: mask, social distance, sanitize. COVID is transmitted from one person to the other. So now, what the government did was impose restrictions on us because we are indisciplined people. I just saw the data put out by Capri recently. The rate of vaccination is a function of education. More educated people are vaccinated. Huh? So, what are we going to see? The same way, look, what happened when you went to primary school or whichever school, when the school bell ring, everybody just run out same time. Huh? Probably only one school that don't happen. Place like Immaculate, where
You have to
you're
walk.
socialized to walk in the line and take your time and so on. Huh? So that these are some of the problems we're going to be faced with. During the course of the program, I heard a number of ads with the Minister of Tourism's voice.
Yes.
Now, the government is still playing the same game that didn't work. The data says that 80% of Jamaica don't trust politicians. They should not be the front of this thing. We need believable people. Trust their doctors. They trust people that they know who they don't trust politicians. So that we need to, the message need to come from some other sources, and we need a constant source of messaging, reminding people. The other voice though that I mentioned about going into a store and
Yes.
but guess what?
No temperature check, no
I never
sanitization.
had that problem because I always walk with my own sanitizer. And when they offer me, I tell them, I don't know what in yours, but I know what in mine.
And funny enough,
I use
that
my
is so
own.
much. Some of them will tell you that, listen, no, you have to use our sanitizers. I've been to stores, they say, I know, I have mine. They're like, no, you have to use ours. Yeah.
No,
So
you see,
it's almost like a shift, a
yeah,
complete
yeah,
shift
that's
now.
ridiculous because I know because insist there have been some instance where persons have been hands have been damaged by whatever it is the people are using in their bottles, in their spray bottles and so on, and
Especially for those who have sensitive skin.
exactly. And if you're using alcohol that is undiluted and so on, it can be too harsh. I wouldn't be surprised some people are even mixing it with bleach or so on, so that it will kill germs, but it's also damage your skin. But I always walk with my own. I don't allow anybody to spray anything in my hands. But we have some serious public education is going to be necessary because COVID
Just
not
to
just.
remind us that COVID is here, and this is where we have to jump and take our final break. You have been listening to and watching Family Time on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and FB. It's produced by Family Life Ministries. For our social media interaction, we want you to tell us, what are you anticipating or fearing the most now that there are no restrictions under COVID? Let us know via WhatsApp, text, and voice notes no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125 on the Love 101 Facebook page, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 to 8 to participate. We're also on FB and YouTube Live. Yes, we want to hear from you. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back after this break.
The following is a message from the Ministry of Tourism.
Without a doubt, tourism is Jamaica's number one industry, and our dedicated workers are its greatest asset. Jamaica would not be the heartbeat of the world without you. As the industry rebounds from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we truly need all hands on deck, yours included. Vaccination holds the hope for tourism's full recovery. In addition to COVID-19 protocols, it is the only comprehensive way to fight the pandemic and save lives. I am therefore urging every worker in the tourism and hospitality industry, in all the subsectors, including accommodation, attraction, entertainment, transportation, and craft, to do your part and get vaccinated. Do it for yourself, your family, your workplace, and your community. Do it for Jamaica, land we love. Stay safe. Get vaccinated.
The preceding message was brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism.
Exporters, importers, traders, all stakeholders. The Jamaica Customs Agency presents its first Trade Facilitation Symposium under the theme Balancing Trade Facilitation and Compliance. Wednesday, March 23, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. live on the Jamaica Customs Agency's YouTube channel. That's the Jamaica Customs Agency's virtual symposium on trade, March 23, 2022 at 10 a.m. This is a symposium you can't afford to miss. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
The world is full of job opportunities locally and overseas. Let us bring them to you. Register now at Distinction College located at 26 Hagley Park Road, Kingston, 6 Nugent Street, Spanish Town, and Ocho Rios. In 2 to 3 months, earn local and international certificates in housekeeping, food and beverage, food preparation, receptionist, and customer service. Qualified to work in hotels, cruise ships, restaurants, and businesses worldwide. No subjects required, no age limits, no entrance test. Day, evening, and Saturday classes begin very soon at low school fees. Easy and flexible payment plans. Call us 356-4167.
Traveling to Jamaica with unaccompanied shipment? The Jamaica Customs Agency is encouraging all air passengers with unaccompanied shipments who have a taxpayer registration number, TRN, to present it to Customs upon arrival. This will subsequently facilitate faster processing when clearing your unaccompanied shipments. The Jamaica Customs Agency will continue to implement measures to improve our service delivery and your service experience. You may contact us at 876-922-5140 to 8 or email public.relations@jca.gov.jm on this and other customs-related matters. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101, and we are brought to you by Family Life Ministries. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Listen out for our numbers in Kingston and Portmore at the end of this program. And remember, we're on FB and YouTube live, so tune into the program via the Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel. Dr. Leah Kim Samaj is our guest, and we have been talking about how are we going to be adjusting to the new normal now that the restrictions for COVID-19 has gone to the dog. So that is Angel Kim says, good evening, Dr. Samaj and Mrs. Williams. My views on this is that I'm just not dropping my guard. I'm still wearing my mask, sanitized, also to not going too close. So I'm still wearing my mask. I'm sanitizing. I'm also not going too close, but I take public vehicles. That's another thing. Persons out of their mask as if there's no COVID. So that is Angel came from FB, and I can just imagine, because you are, and there are persons, lots of persons who are taking public transportation and they don't feel comfortable with going in the car with 3, 5, 6 different persons. And that was before the restrictions were out, but no. There are persons without their mask, there are persons not sanitizing, there are persons that are sneezing and coughing, and it's almost as if we have gone back to square one, like the past 2 years did not happen. Is that a good thing, Dr. Samaj?
As I say, it's good in one limited sense that persons feel free. But with freedom comes responsibilities, and we are not known to be a very responsible people. Just as you mentioned from that input a while ago, I anticipate more conflicts. We're seeing some of those conflicts, even on a number of airlines have now done away with masks completely. But there's some passengers who insist on wearing their mask. I do. I fly very regular. I will be wearing my mask. In fact, when I go on a plane, I wear 2 masks. All right. Some airlines, even though if the masking is now optional for the passengers, the crew will also continue to wear their mask, because since they are up and down in front of everybody, and you can't vouch for, the only person you can vouch for is yourself.
Is you.
You don't know the status of anybody else. So that I can imagine somebody going into a route taxi, and there's 3 people in there and with no mask. And if you say something to them now, that's an affront. The easiest thing for you to do is to step out. But guess what? But you got to get home.
You never get anywhere.
So that is the dilemma, and I do anticipate more problems in that area. But persons, we need to regularly remind people that COVID still present. It is not gone. We're not sure what variant is
Will
next.
pop up.
And the thing about Omicron, a lot of people may have even gotten COVID during Omicron, phase, but the
And didn't
symptoms were
realize
so
it.
mild, they weren't aware of it. So yes, they'll have some antibodies now, but there's still an issue of long COVID. What's going to happen next to them? We don't know. And we're still having problems. But the main factor is the public education for persons to understand. I like to remind people that COVID follows the laws of physics, the laws of biology, and the laws of chemistry, not the dictates of politicians. It's a very lawful, it is still following those laws in terms of how it is spread. So your only thing is to protect yourself. You are responsible for your health and safety. Whatever you need to do, if you can still have the option to work from home, it would not be a bad idea to choose that option, unless how many workplaces have adjusted the spacing?
Not
Even
many.
during the
And
regular
that's because
phase.
they really can't, because of the amount, the money
Space.
that will cost.
The cost to redesign the space so that more people can fit into the office or the cubicles and so on is tremendous. But now with everything back to quote unquote normal, there's some restrictions. I mean, I remember hearing them say that any public entertainment must be not more than 70% of
Yes.
capacity.
Yes.
But who's going to be measuring? Who's going to be counting? And
And if you think about it, people, because the government has done this, people are saying, the government says, all along we've been following what the government has been saying for the past 2 years. The government says that, listen, they're lifting the restrictions, so we're just doing what the government says. And that is the mindset. And I think people do it because they want to feel, as you rightly said, free again.
Yeah.
Want to be free again. And this is the last question that I'm going to ask you. So what will become of the family? So we know families would have changed based on the restrictions that were happening and the work from home order. So now that all of that has gone through the door, how are they going to be coping? Because now, as you rightly said, and you had alluded to it earlier on, what are they now going to do now that the children are now going back to school? The parents, well, more than likely have to now go back to work. Some persons are still in a hybrid situation. So how are they going to learn how to manage and cope now with the stresses of life? You had said that you're not going to spend 4 hours in traffic, but for the individual that can't say that because
they have
they're
to.
Yeah. You better get here.
What has been happening in other societies with the restrictions removed, if you are going to have a family gathering outside of your immediate household, you know what persons have been doing?
What?
Testing. You facilitate your testing before
yes, because you have the test kit, right? That they've been giving us or sending out, I think.
Well, exactly. If you can facilitate testing so that you know that your family from Westmoreland coming to visit, you haven't seen them and they're coming to visit, ideally, a person should be tested within, let's say, 24 to 48 hours before coming into your pod, so to speak, to minimize the chance of anyone in that group now infecting everybody else. No, that's a concept.
You really
Easier
believe
said
that
than
people
done.
will be able to afford that? Because people
That's the problem. That's the problem. In other societies that have done this, they facilitate free testing.
Oh, well, obviously we haven't gotten to that stage.
Persons have gotten free test kits, or there are places where you can go and get free tests, right? So we haven't done that part, because only thing that you could recommend is that, yes, if you know members of your household, you know their status, you know that you're all vaccinated and boosted as the case may be. If you're interacting with other family members from elsewhere, do you know their status? Now, the fact that 70% of Jamaicans are not vaccinated, I mean, they don't care, all right? So that this doesn't matter to them at all. But those who it matters to, you really need to still protect yourself. You really, I would not allow myself to be in a gathering with persons I don't know their status.
Okay.
I can't, because I am responsible for my health. Even though I am vaccinated and boosted, and if I was to become infected, the probability of symptoms will be much less, and hospitalization would be probably zero. But look, I am protecting myself, so that we still, it's a lot of responsibility. That's the word that we have introduced today. With freedom comes responsibility.
And
And
I
the
think
government is no longer, it's putting it on, it's in your court. You are now responsible. So I should say, parents, you are responsible for your children's behavior. You
yes.
really have to insist what they do and where they go and who they interact with, and wear their mask, sanitize. As somebody comes, I have a sanitization stand at my front door. As I come in,
Absolutely.
as you come in the house, or you go wash your hand. It's a ritual now. So you would really have to
Oh,
treat your home like you would a business place. As you go in, you have to sanitize. Huh?
well, Dr. Samaj, we have run out of time. That is it for today. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being with us. You have questions of a personal nature. If you have questions of a personal nature, viewers and listeners, you are connected to us at FLM by simply calling us. We are at Portmore at 117 Cecile Avenue. You can call us at 876-939-7917 for more information on our services or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island. Contact our head office at 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. Note that appointments can only be made by calling the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs, find us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries, on Instagram at FLMJA, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA. Now, before we leave you, here is this evening's verse. 1 John 5, verse 5, it says, Who is that? Who is it that overcomes the world? Only the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. Join us again next week at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101 FM, FB, and YouTube Live via the Love 101 Facebook page and Love 101 YouTube channel for another informative program. Thanks again to our special guest, Dr. Samaj. Thanks also to our show producer, Kathy Gale, Open Door Communications, studio facilitator, Timoy Butler, and of course, you. I'm Audra Williams. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed.